Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the very first edition of TNAisWWE Podcast. My name is Andy, aka TNAisWWE V2. And if you are on my page, you know that I have, for the most part, posted videos of me talking about wrestling. And this is the first time that I'm going to be posting strictly audio of me talking about wrestling. It's something that I've seen take over the wrestling world, and a lot of people have had a lot of success doing it. Steven Larson being my favorite, also Don Tony, Kevin Castle, another big favorite that I listen to all the time. Soul Monster, and a bunch of others. There's a lot of famous guys that do it, like Edge and Christian, Dave Metzler, a bunch of guys, but or Meltzer, I think, yeah. But I figured I would give it a go. If it fails, it fails, but who knows? Maybe I'll end up being successful at this, opposed to doing the wrestling videos. So, with that being said, let's just dive right into it. There's been a lot going on in the world of wrestling lately, and with that being said, a very controversial Money in the Bank women's match, the first one, then the second one, which was the first ever Money in the Bank on SmackDown. So, honestly, the way I felt is the pay-per-view was supposed to be the big payoff moment. And in this case, SmackDown was the payoff to the pay-per-view. And to me, that just made no sense. It's like they booked themselves a mistake, so they would have to fix it. But if that's the case, why would you book the mistake in the first place? Now, I'm just so happy that Carmella won the second time, because I'm a big fan of Carmella. And if she did not win the second time, all of the heat and momentum that she would have had, because of this awesome Money in the... I honestly liked the finish, okay? I really liked the finish. I thought James Ellsworth going up, tossing her the briefcase, it was just the ultimate heat-seeking moment. And, there was no need to redo the match because it's no disqualification. Carmella was the first competitor in the match to get the briefcase. Therefore, I thought it was clear that she had won. The second time, I think that, Ellsworth really shouldn't have came back. But I'm happy that Carmella won, and I'm happy that, for the most part, she did it on her own. I thought that the second match was actually a little better than the first. I thought it broke down really well, towards the end. And yeah, with that being said, Carmella is Miss Money in the Bank. And I could see her cashing in on Naomi. There's Lana's not winning that belt anytime soon. Let's face it. And I honestly don't think she should, because she's not there yet. She's only had 3 or 4 matches on TV so far, including that WrestleMania 31, I think, maybe 32. I think 31, where she was in that tag match. But for the most part, I'm happy with how things played out. I don't think that there should have been a second match to determine who's the real winner, because the pay-per-view moment, especially it being the first match, it was supposed to be a big moment that shouldn't have had, any, it shouldn't have been redone, in my opinion. But it was redone, and thank God Carmella won again, because, she's going to be, her and Ellsworth are going to be awesome with that briefcase. And, I don't know who's going to beat Naomi. I actually really like her as a champion, so I want to see her hold that belt for a while, and then have Naomi cash in. I would also like to see, have Carmella cash in. But I would also like to see Carmella somehow cash in on a Becky Lynch babyface champion, because of all that's been happening with Ellsworth and Becky and her. There's definitely heat brewing between them, storyline heat. And I want to see a match between Becky and Ellsworth, and I would really like to see Carmella cash in on Becky. I think that would just be the best situation for that briefcase. But either way, it's going to happen. Carmella's definitely going to be champion. And, it's cool, because at first we were all, me and a couple of my boys were upset that she didn't come up with Enzo and Cass. But, it ends up being that, it's because she's going to be a huge star, and she's turning out to be a really big star. So I'm happy and excited for this. I think it's pretty cool. So, yeah. Next on the other side of things, on Monday Night Raw, we've had this awesome Brock Lesnar Samoa Joe storyline brewing. And, it's just it's come to be such an awesome storyline. Going into the match, I didn't realize that we were going to get these awesome, promos between Paul Heyman and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe fucking attacking the hell out of Paul Heyman, putting him in the Coquina clutch. And then this last Monday on Raw, as Brock Lesnar was coming out, Samoa Joe put that fucking badass submission right on him. And let's just say that Brock Lesnar definitely had a hard time getting out. His face turned like silver purple almost. It was absolutely unbelievable. You know, I could almost, like, I couldn't believe looking at that face, that because his face didn't look like that when he came out. It wasn't makeup, and I doubt that it was Photoshopped. So I think that was real. Like, he was definitely holding his breath and pushing at the same time, almost like you have to take a really bad shit when you're constipated. And his face was literally like purple. It was unbelievable. And he's selling Samoa Joe, which is just, I didn't think he would. You know, we know how Brock Lesnar is, how he doesn't when he doesn't think that the person is a big-time star, like Dean Ambrose, for an example, he almost takes himself out of the match. He doesn't sell the way he should. And, you know, he's not doing that for this feud. For this feud, he's, I think, really putting himself in the feud, and he's trying to help Samoa Joe get over. So, with that being said, I hope that this is not a one-off. I really hope it's not a one-off. But the only thing is, it probably is going to be a one-off because Roman Reigns said that he's going to be facing the champion at SummerSlam. And the next pay-per-view after Great Balls of Fire, which is an unbelievable name, is SummerSlam. I think I'm pretty sure that, well, it's not a Raw pay-per-view, it's both shows, but I think it's Great Balls of Fire, Battleground on SmackDown, and then SummerSlam for both. So, you know, if that's the case, then that means that, you know, Samoa Joe's not going to get a rematch. He could win the title, but I really doubt it. It's, you know, it's just so stereotypical. Brock Lesnar's going to win, and then he's probably, I don't know actually who's going to win at SummerSlam. Because the rumors for the longest time was that it would be Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. But now there's rumors that it might be Roman Reigns versus John Cena, which actually could happen because John Cena is now a free agent. He could, you know, wrestle on both shows. You know, the only reason why they did that is so they could pop a rating. I mean, yeah, so they could pop a rating on Raw. It's the only reason why they did that, because they need that boost. You know, John Cena is the only guy that could pop ratings. Brock Lesnar doesn't even do it anymore. So they put John Cena. They're having it so he's going to be on both shows. And, you know, I don't really mind that. I don't see a problem with it. So they could have Roman Reigns win the title at SummerSlam. Maybe have Roman do a program with Samoa Joe, a few other guys on the road to Mania, and then have Cena face Roman for that Universal strap. Now, at the end of the day, it's crazy. Like, I am not a Roman Reigns fan. You know, I'm really not. But I will admit that he has been getting better. His in-ring work has been getting better. And it's weird. Like, his promos are almost heel promos as of late. Like, as of this past, like, month, basically. Ever since he beat The Undertaker, these promos he's been cutting, they've been, like, heel promos. So, it's odd. It's very strange. So I would love to see a heel Roman Reigns versus a babyface John Cena. And if that were to happen, you know, it would be the first time in a while that John Cena would get, like, I think over like a 70%, around maybe 75, 80% babyface reaction. And I think that would be really cool. I think it would be a good WrestleMania moment. You know, back in the day I used to hate Cena too, but now I have tons of respect for the guy. You know, he just puts on he puts on awesome matches all the time. You know, it's really, like, when you look at his pay-per-view matches, it's hard to pick out really bad ones because he really hasn't. And a lot of his matches with AJ Styles, those matches in particular made me realize, like, there's no reason to hate this guy. He's awesome. And a lot of other matches, yeah, too, you know, with Edge, you know. I started watching wrestling in, late 2006. I didn't see WrestleMania 22, you know, as a wrestling fan. 23 was my first one. And he had that match with Shawn Michaels. You know, maybe I'm biased because it was my first WrestleMania main event, but, like, that to me was an amazing match. So I think Cena's hate is unwarranted, and I think that him versus Roman could be good because it would obviously be Cena calling the shots, and, you know, Cena is a really good leader in that ring. So, you know, I'd rather see Roman beat Lesnar just so we could see that damn title on TV more often. It sucks that like that's the Raw, world title, and it's just barely ever seen on TV. So I think something needs to change. I think maybe changing the plans for Mania 34 might be a good idea. So that's that. And then going back to SmackDown, Jinder Mahal is the WWE champion, obviously, and it's so weird. Like, you would think going into SummerSlam that Jinder is gonna lose the belt to Cena. You would think that. I mean, and it could still happen too, because WrestleMania is, it's a long way down the road. WrestleMania 33 just happened. We still have a while to go to WrestleMania 34. So they could have put the strap on Cena, maybe have him lose it to AJ Styles, the WWE Championship, and then once he loses the belt, loses his rematch, goes back over to Raw to challenge a Roman Reigns champion. I don't think that would be the worst thing. I'd rather see that than Roman versus Brock. It happened at WrestleMania 31. If Seth Rollins didn't save that match, it would have been a really shitty ending. It was like he really just saved that moment, and people like going into the match weren't excited. It's just thank God that happened at WrestleMania 31 when Seth Rollins cashed in that fucking Money in the Bank. My favorite cash in ever. And I don't think people would be any more excited going into it this year either. I think Brock Lesnar is probably getting more and more heat. I mean, it's weird, I'm surprised he doesn't get booed more, because he's never there. He's the world champ, and he's, they took the title away from Naomi because she didn't defend it in 30 days, or because she couldn't. And then you have Lesnar, who's just like, he's had it for like 90 days, I think, already, and hasn't defended it. So it's just, it's unbelievable. And I want a champion that's going to be on TV. At the end of the day, Roman Reigns is going to be on TV every week. Not every week, close to it, but, you guys get what I'm saying. Like, Brock Lesnar, once he has this match, and I don't know what the plans are for SummerSlam for Brock. So, it's probably going to be, after SummerSlam, because Brock is going to fight Roman. I could see Roman winning. I could really see him winning the belt. And then after SummerSlam, Brock is probably going to go away. Whether he's a champion or not, he's probably going to go away. So that's why at the end of the day, people really should be cheering for Roman Reigns if that match happens. Because don't you want a champion that you're going to actually see on TV? And, that's coming from someone who really doesn't like Roman Reigns. But, you have to take yourself out of the situation and look at it from, from an unbiased set of eyes. And at the end of the day, that would be what's best for the company, to not have that belt on a guy that's barely there. It was good for a while, and he's had a long run. He's, not the longest run, but he's not a guy that's defined by the title. There was never. Goldberg should have never beat Kevin Owens for the Universal strap. I really thought that the main event should have been Jericho versus Owens for the Universal strap. That's what I really thought should have happened. Brock Lesnar is not a guy that is defined by championships, especially at this point in his career. Any match he has, whether it's for a title or not, it's going to hold the same weight. So, him versus Goldberg, it didn't need to be for the title. And anything he does going forward, it really doesn't need to be for any championships, in my opinion. So, that's how I really feel about that. I would love to see Samoa Joe win, but I just don't see it happening. And, it would be cool to see Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for the title. That would be really cool. But, Samoa Joe hasn't been on the main roster for very long. And I don't see him winning the title yet. And it really sucks, because this is a dream match. And, the way things are going, it's like, on one hand, I want to say to myself, they should have waited until he was a little more established. But on the other hand, it's like, well, he's getting old. Like, he should have been in the WWE way before. That way, at this point, like, he could be established at this point where this match means a lot more. And, by all means, though, WWE has been doing a great job by making this match mean something. Attacking Paul Heyman, then attacking Brock Lesnar, making him turn silver purple. It was really cool. So they have been doing a good job at making Samoa Joe seem believable that he could maybe win the belt, but he's not. I really just can't see it. So that's how I feel about that. They just announced that there's gonna be a battle royal on SmackDown on July 4th, and the winner is gonna face Kevin Owens for the United States title at Battleground. And I hope AJ Styles wins. He doesn't need to win he could win the United States Championship, hold it for a little while, and maybe lose it back to Owens. I want to see AJ win the WWE Championship. And I want to see him have a feud with Shinsuke for the WWE Championship. That's what I want. I think that's what most people want. It will put both guys over really well. So, yeah, that's what I really want to see as far as SmackDown goes. But him and AJ are going to have really good matches no matter what. Kevin Owens and AJ, that is. And I'm pretty excited to see them have I think AJ is definitely going to win the Battle Royal. Who else could really be a contender for Owens for that belt at this point? There's Luke Harper. Ty Dillinger is nowhere to be seen. And, there's Dolph and there's some other guys too. But at the end of the day, Owens and AJ they're going to steal the show. They only had one match. It was at Backlash. And if I remember right, it kind of had a funky ending. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think that it was kind of a dirty ending. So I would love to see more matches between those guys. I have no problem with that, and I really hope that AJ wins that Battle Royal. He could hold the United States title for a little while, lose it, and then get back in the WWE title picture after he drops that belt. So, the only other thing I really want to talk about is, there's two things, both on Monday Night Raw. The Lavar Ball segment, so many people are shitting all over that segment. And, alright, look, on one hand, I get the fact that, it took away time from, wrestlers that could be on the show. But at the same time, Kurt Hawkins was on the show, Bo Dallas was on the show, Curtis Axel was on the show. Guys that aren't normally on the show were on the show with that segment. But I get why Curtis Axel, especially coming from, his family, he's definitely an old school type of guy. I totally understand that, so I get where he's coming from. But I thought it was funny. And, I'm young. I'm only 20 years old. So, I understand. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram and all that shit. So, I somewhat keep up to date in, popular culture. I know who the Ball family are. Lonzo is going to be a big star in the Lakers. And LeVar is their outspoken father, who is he's a very controversial individual. And the little brother dropped the N-bomb a couple of times when Dean Ambrose was coming out. And I think that's funny as hell, man. It's something different. It's, not something different as far as storyline goes, but, it was funny. I didn't have a problem with it at the end of the day. He shouldn't have, cursed because you should never go off story. And I'm pretty sure LeVar actually was going off story, off script. But, being with someone like The Miz, who, could carry anyone through a segment like that, at the end of the day, I didn't think it was that bad. I think, out of all the segments that have happened, the Old Day segment, the Alexa Bliss Bayley segment, this one really wasn't that bad. They were in LA, so you have to give them some slack. So, yeah, man. Apparently, they were supposed to stay, outside a little longer than they did, and they were pulled back. Not surprised. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. And the last thing I want to talk about is Enzo and Cass. Now, the promo that happened 2 weeks ago when Cass, revealed that it was him, it just seemed a little anticlimactic. Yeah, maybe I'm not, alone on that. Maybe other people feel that way too. Maybe not. I don't know. But it seemed very anticlimactic. It just seemed like, I don't know, man. I don't know what that's just the perfect word for the way it was done. It was just it was weird. It just seemed like it should have been more dramatic. But, this week it was a good promo that Enzo cut. I actually really liked the promo. But it was just so obvious what was going to happen. You know, Cass gave him like a rainmaker, basically. And it was so obvious that that was going to happen, even with the really good promo being cut. And the fans gave like a ingenuine pop. And it was just, look, I don't have a problem with the fact that Enzo and Cass broke up. But how are you going to have a payoff match when it's Enzo versus Cass? The match can't happen. Because if Enzo gets any offense in, it makes Big Cass look so unbelievable. And I literally mean, like, unbelievable. Like, not believable. You know, it makes him look like he's trash. So, I don't know where they plan on going with this. I think Enzo needs to be a mouthpiece for someone new. Or just get someone else. But, like, I don't know where they're going to end up going with this. It's weird. I don't know what they're doing with Corey Graves. It's just, I don't get it. A lot of people were thinking that Corey Graves was going to start a faction. And that would be pretty cool because he's a really good personality. But, you know, I think it's kind of turning into a mess. The whole storyline has just been turning into a bad mess. So, I hope that it clears up, and I hope that we get a really good payoff for, you know, countless amount of weeks. But, with that being said, I think that's basically it. That's, for the most part, we have an ambulance match coming up with Roman and Strowman. And, you know, I'm not that excited for that match because we've seen it happen. Not an ambulance match, but we've seen the two guys fight a lot already. So I'm not too hyped for that, but, you know, I'm sure it's going to be decent. So that's about it for this week. I'm going to try to post a new podcast every week, probably around the same length, around, you know, 20 to 30 minutes. So for everyone that tuned in and listened, thank you very much. I will catch you all next time. My name is Andy. Peace out.